So I've done quite a few videos so far, and as I said before, what it's all about is I'm trying to get people to understand the type of person that I am. This is why I'm breaking it down with serious stuff, with a stroke, yeah, and also light-hearted stuff with stories and stuff like that, because the AI protocol that I'm about to do is very, very serious, and it means such a lot to me. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to engage with a lot of people, and we're going to be able to help one another get over anything that's bothering them, depression, or yeah, mainly depression, yeah, because people that I've spoke to, when I say to them, what's affected you mostly, and they say obviously not walking or whatever, but they say depression plays a big part of their life, and that is because people don't understand what it's like to have a stroke, yeah, especially if you've got to rely on someone to do stuff for you, which most have. Most people that have had a stroke have to rely on other people to help them. So that can be a real downer, on people. It was for me. So one thing I've noticed, that looking at a lot of videos on YouTube about people that have had a stroke, and where people have started doing a YouTube channel, it seems there's only 2 or 3 videos and then there's no more. Yeah, because obviously the channel doesn't work. Yeah. And why doesn't it work? Because I think there's only so much that you can talk about having a stroke without it being doom and gloom. If someone's had a stroke and they want medical information, there's plenty of information out there on Google to get that information. They haven't got to watch a YouTube channel. What I'm trying to do here is build a channel that's going to last, where people can come on here and comment, and possibly we'll end up doing live streams talking about stroke, maybe talking about other problems, that's made you end up in a wheelchair or stuff like that. I don't mind, as long as we can help people. But I want it to be consistent. So this is why in a lot of the videos I'm diverting into other stuff. I'm talking about when I was younger, yeah, how the world has changed. So basically, I'm hoping it's going to make it a bit more interesting, where we can engage the youngsters that might come on here, that it picks up and find out, oh, is that what it was like in the 1950s? Yeah. And then they might understand about what happens when their parents or grandparents have a stroke. They understand it a bit more because they're engaging in the videos. So that's where I'm trying to take this channel. So hopefully it's going to work. So thank you so much for watching up to now. Thank you. So I looked at lots of gadgets to help me walk. Yeah. Knee braces. As I said in one of the other videos, stem cell therapy is a big thing in Switzerland, where they reckon for £28,000 or euros, sorry, 28,000 euros, they can connect your brain waves up again, which makes a big difference. So, as I said before, has anyone ever tried it? Does it work? I don't know. I've watched so many videos out there now of people that have had strokes, yeah. Some going back 10 years, yeah. And some of the videos are like 7, 8, 10 years ago, yeah. Be nice to know how them people have come on over the years, yeah. It would be really nice. From my own perspective, I've got my own thoughts on the way forward for me personally. And that is basically what this channel is all about. And that is strength, training, yeah, building my body back up, building my muscles up. That's one of the biggest shocks that I had. And this happened overnight. And this happened when I was in the first hospital, yeah, in Queen's Hospital. 3 weeks, my leg muscles went from really, really strong to like jelly. Just laying in bed, to went like jelly. And like, as I've said before in the other videos, my work involved climbing ladders every single day. So we're climbing ladders up and down, up and down. My leg muscles, my calf muscles were really, really strong. And then one day, I've put my hands down to my calves. I could not believe it. They were so weak and just like jelly. That was a big shock to me, to actually think, wow, I've lost all that muscle in a matter of weeks. So this is where I think now I've got to build muscle back to basically be stronger and deal with it, deal with the stroke and the aftermath of it. So that's where I'm doing this video on the channel, to basically build muscle and to get back somewhere where I was before. Because without muscle, you can't do anything. You can't do nothing, yeah? We go about our everyday life. We don't even think about it. You know, we get up in the morning, we maybe go to work, get on the bus, you know, get on the train, come home. We don't actually think about it. But as soon as you've got no muscle, you can't do nothing. So it's really, really important for maintaining muscle, you know. If someone out there said to me, from what I know, I'm not a doctor, what would you say is the most important for a stroke victim? Yeah. There's lots of reasons, but one of them definitely would be do some sort of strength training to build muscle back up, Yeah, so that would be one of the top things that I would say to them. No. So guys, doing this recording is quite hard for me, yeah, because I need to use both hands, and this hand was really affected with the stroke. Obviously, when I first had it, I couldn't use it at all, but it's got to a stage now where I can use it, and I need both hands, picking the phone up, turning this on, turning this off. So just so that you know, perseverance is paying off, yeah. And although it's difficult, and I want to throw the phone out the window, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So I have to thank Blessing, one of my therapists in the rehab unit, for the perseverance that every day she saw me, she would always be, where's that arm? Where's that arm? You're not using your arm. Where's your arm? So Blessing, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for all your help. Thank you so much, darling. So I said in one of the other videos about Mita, one of my therapists in the rehab unit, and we was talking about shoes and boots, yeah, in walking. So, as I said before, I asked Mita one day, I said, you know, do you think it would be better if I can wear boots? And she said to me, no, they're going to be too heavy for you, yeah. You won't be able to wear boots. But in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, the way I used to climb about, yeah. You know, you're climbing up a roof and you're climbing up ladders and you've got a pair of boots on and they feel really, really tight where you've tied them up tight, it's secure, you know. Everything is tight, everything is secure. And it's the difference of climbing up a ladder with a pair of slippers on or climbing up a ladder with a pair of boots on, yeah. What do you think is going to be the best for that ladder? Yeah. So when I got home, good old Amazon, yeah, I went on Amazon again, and I got a pair of my old boots that I used to wear. And like I said before, steel toe capped, metal plate running right away through the middle. Now, when I first got home, I had a pair of slip-on shoes, and I'm starting to walk, you know, within reason. And then as soon as these boots came, I put them on, and then I got them tied, the laces tied up as tight as I possibly could, yeah. I got them really, really tight, and it just felt different straight away. I felt more comfortable. I stood up. My balance was good. And I started walking with these boots on. And to me, it was 100% better than walking with a pair of slip-on shoes. That's why I wear them all the time now. Yeah, that's the way it is. I prefer wearing the boots. They have to be done up really tight though, yeah. Not loose, so that they're moving about. So, maybe if you know someone, or if you're that person, you're having problems walking, maybe you might want to try that, because it definitely works for me. Wearing a pair of builder's boots, done up tight, makes 100% difference to the way that I'm walking. I can't necessarily walk any further, but it's more comfortable. It seems my balance, it's like the boots are keeping me on the floor much easier. My balance seems to be better. So maybe you might want to try that. Okay, thank you. So sometimes when you've had a stroke like this, people don't realise that you've had a stroke, especially if you can talk reasonably well. Yeah, reasonably well. So I just had a bit of a laugh with my son, yeah, because he's the one that's encouraging me to do these videos. Like I've said before, I'm really not comfortable in talking to myself on a video, yeah, but he's pretty confident that I can do this. And as he said to me, Dad, you know, it's going to help you, and it's also going to help a lot of people out there. So basically, that's why I'm doing it. I would be more comfortable sitting on a rooftop around a chimney stack than sitting here doing a video for YouTube. So that's just the type of person I am, yeah. So might give me a little bit of criticism. And he said, what you've got to try and do, Dad, is to do a clean speech all the way through, blah, 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 because he does YouTubing himself, blah, 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 blah. And I went, Mike, I've effing had a stroke. And he went, oh, F, Dad, sorry, I forgot. So yeah, sometimes that's the way it is, yeah. Other family members forget that I've had a stroke. And what I'm trying to do is build a YouTube channel, yeah. Come on, give me a break. I'm getting there. So this is to my family members, okay, so thank you. So guys, thanks very much for watching. I'm going to bring this video to a close now. Please watch the rest of the video. Just a short story. I hope you like it. Thank you so much. So one of my relatives asked me a short time ago, what's my biggest regrets in life? And I've got lots. Yeah, there's lots of regrets that if I had my chance again, I would do it, things differently, yeah, and stuff like that. So one of my biggest regrets was that I come from a military family. All of my parents and grandparents was all in the military. And basically, I was probably the first one to break the tradition. But I did apply to go in the Royal Marines, yeah. And I was accepted, but I ended up that I didn't go in because it took too long to get accepted. So this is the quick story basically about that. So I'd finished my apprenticeship as a bricklayer, yeah, and I got married, I had 2 children, and I'm still young. I'm only 23, 22, 23, and I was bored doing my job, yeah. So I see an advert one day in one of the newspapers, become a Royal Marine Commando, yeah. And I thought, yeah, that'll suit me, yeah. I'm thinking the travel, you know, of all over the world and up in the Arctic on the skis, you know, the lifestyle would have suited me, definitely. There's no two ways about it. So I filled the form out and sent it off. In them days, guys, it wasn't done by email. It was done by sending a letter with a stamp on it. Yeah, so just so that you know, the old-fashioned way. So a couple of weeks later, I got back a form. Yeah, filled the form in. Yeah, of my basically all about me, what they wanted to know. And then I got an appointment to go and see for an interview. Yeah. So I went and done one interview. Passed that. Yeah, they was happy with everything that I said to them. Yeah, passed that interview. And then they said, okay, the next stage is a medical. Yeah, where you come up to, you will have a medical. So a couple of weeks went by, and basically I went to the Royal Marine or the Naval Centre in High Holborn in London, yeah, where the Naval Centre is for the Royal Marines, and gone in there and filled more forms out, more forms. Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and then it comes up to the guy that was interviewing me was a Royal Marine, yeah, and he looked a real hard case, yeah. And he says to me, right, Mr. Taylor, he said, we've done all the forms, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. What I need you to do now, he said, one of them glass bottles on the shelf up there, he said, I need you to urinate in one of them, yeah. So I'm sitting there, and I said, what? He said, I need you to urinate in one of them bottles up there, right? And then he carried on writing, doing what he was doing, yeah. So I said to him, I said, excuse me, I said, what, you want me to urinate in one of them glass bottles from here? And he looked at me as if I was stupid.
Mr. Taylor, I need you to urinate into one of them glass jars on the shelf over there.
What, from sitting here?
He said, laddie, if you can piss in one of them bottles from there, he said, you're in the Marines. I will sign you in myself. You know, I just misunderstood him. Yeah, I should have gone and got one of the glasses and took it into the toilet and urinated in there. But it's just a simple story at the time. So I was accepted into the Marines. I was accepted to go in as a helicopter pilot. But basically, I'd been in trouble with the police. It went before the Admiralty Board, and they passed it in the end. But it took 9 months to get accepted from that day. 9 months to get accepted. And in that time, we'd moved house. Yeah, I had a new job. Things had moved on. Yeah, so, and by then I was, I think, nearly 24. And my wife at the time said, don't go in there. It's too late. It's too late. So that's why I didn't go in. But that is definitely the number one regret of my life, of not going in the Marines when I had the chance. That's the biggest regret of my life, not going in. Because I think that if you go in the services, it sets you up for life. I remember my granddad and my dad, yeah, my granddad was in the First World War, my dad was in the Navy in the Second World War, and they always had discipline. They always had discipline in their life, yeah. And basically, I think that that would have been good for me. Yeah, that would have been good for me. So it's just a short story of another episode in my life that comes into my mind. Hope you like the story. Thank you. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to close this video now. I'm going to put a picture up of my mum's dad, one of my grandfathers, that was fighting in the First World War. In this picture, he's aged just 17 years old. 17 years old. And although he survived the war, he died very young, at 47, from being gassed during the First World War. What a waste of life. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.
Your eyes been light, turned it upside down. I held your hand, but felt the whole sky